each one of the subnets has space for about 200 to 220 miners. That means that mining is also a competition. And if your miner has the lowest active key for a subnet, you're going to be deregistered when a new miner registers. So it's important to realize that not only is mining challenging in that you have to pick your subnet and then become an expert in that subnet, but it's also a competition against all the other miners. The way you pick which subnet to mine on is by doing some research. And at TauStats in our documentation, you can see a listing of all of the subnets. And for each one of the subnets, we'll have a link to the GitHub and a link to the hardware requirements for mining and validating on that subnet. The GitHub generally has a very good README that describes the steps that you need to do. It tells you a little bit about what the subnet is doing. And then it may also have links to other documentation so that to help you get started understanding what the subnet does and how the subnet works and how you can mine on that subnet. The min compute YAML generally has the hardware requirements, so you can see how many CPUs, whether it needs a GPU or a CPU, how much memory, what OS, et cetera, how much storage you need. Another way to do some of this research is to get into the BitTensor Discord. You can see each one of the subnets has a channel. You can see when I took this screenshot, there was actually a release for subnet 1. So as you read through these messages, you can get some hints, some tricks. You can read about mining, where people are struggling. And then you can also look up at the pin messages. That's generally where you will find the release notes, where you will find changes and things that the mods for this, the subnet owners have decided to share and have made important, so they'll pin them to the channel.
Yo, why I got such ghetto internet out here, dude? 480? Why would you ever default me to that?
Another way to learn about the subnet is to go to TauStats. And on the registration tab for the subnet, you can see how much it costs to register. You can
Julius says, BitTensor is just another ERC token?
See that at this point for subnet 1, it's costing 0.05 tau. You can also see it changes over time. So maybe you're like, oh, this is a little high right now. I'll wait a few hours for the price to go down. That's fair. When you register a node on the subnet, you'll be granted an immunity period. And so that immunity period helps you go from 0 emission to a higher amount of emission so you don't get deregistered right away. You can see you can use the BitTensor command line. You can hit subnet hyperparameters. And for subnet 1, the immunity period is 4,096 blocks, which at 12 seconds a block is about 13.5 hours. Each subnet has a default miner that you can run. Now you can imagine with 200 plus miners running on a subnet, if everybody's using the default miner, you're not going to pull ahead. So everybody's modifying the miner, right? Everybody is making changes so that they're better than the other miners in the subnet. So you can try it with the default miner, but you might want to test it out and see what you can do to improve that miner so that you float to the top. Once you've tested out your miner, you've made your modifications, and you're ready to launch, you can use the again the BitTensor command line to register your hotkey, and you'll need a little bit of tau on the cold key to make that work. And now you're up and running. You'll want to track your incentive in the subnet metagraph. The incentive leads to emission, and then of course emission leads to the tau that you will earn. And as your emission grows, you can see.
Hold up.
And as your
Daily 0.89. So he's making 400 a day, 400 a day, 416.
And as your emission grows, you can see here in this chart, the orange miners all have immunity, and this blue guy right here is the lowest active key. So when somebody new registers, this guy's out. So you want to modify your miner so that when you come out of immunity, you're up here, or even ideally way up here. But you want to find your way up into this space where you're safe so that you don't get deregistered. And you can do the mathematics of like how long you need to stay active to pay for the registration costs and your machine costs and all of that. And you...
Nah, dude, what did I just do here? He said that Ethereum has way more volume than BNB and others on CoinMarketCap. You're right, dude. Check out the USDC and USDT, though.
Your own personal economics decide whether it's working for you or not. TauStats has a wealth of information about of like how long you need to stay active to pay for the registration costs and your machine costs and all of that. And your own personal economics decide whether it's working.
364 here. Validators here. I just want to see how much they're making, dude. USD price. How much are people making per day in tau? Because then, I mean, if you take directional risk, you know how that goes. These are all the subnets. So to me, it sounds like there's 32 different subnets here. Let's see. This looks like 64, but you're actually mining on subnet, and you get removed if you're not in the top 200-ish, 220. and do some research on the subnet. GitHub has the README here. Keep improving. Who said Tau is the ERC20? Just reading about it, and it's definitely a separate protocol, not ERC20. Also, just read Zach BTC from 7 months ago report that BitTensor halted their chain for a while, June 2024, due to thefts and private key leakage. Damn, dude. That's some good intel, bro. Some good intel. I'm gonna go ahead and pop up this next video here. That shit was solid, bro. That was solid. Solid.
The Tau Templar. This is a minor overview for BitTensor. First, let's review how Bitcoin mining works. In Bitcoin, mining consists of buying specialized machines with specialized hardware to guess the next Bitcoin lottery number. The first miner to broadcast to the rest of the network the winning number wins. In BitTensor, mining is very valuable, specialized work. We have miners and validators. Miners do the work, validators check the work. Work is different between each subnet. The storage subnet will require you to have a machine with high bandwidth and storage capacity. The price prediction subnet will require you to have a strong knowledge of trading. The ads subnet will require you to have marketing knowledge. The AI subnets will require you to have some AI knowledge. Miners are rewarded for doing their subnet's unique work. Right now, the maximum number of nodes within a subnet is 256. Most of those are miners, with a couple dozen being validators. So let's go through what is required for setting up a miner in order. First, you want to choose the subnet. They're all done.
Nice. Yes, our slogan must be learn, baby, learn, so that we can
Earn, baby, earn.
Has to be different. Consider mining a subnet with less competition and therefore lower registration fees. The trade-off here, though, is that a new subnet owner probably has a less stable subnet and poorer documentation, which can be difficult when you're first starting out. So there's a trade-off there. Then jump on the subnet's Discord. There's a lot of information there. You can read through past messages, find some nuggets of wisdom. Then, if you click in Discord at the top on the pinned messages, every subnet has documentation, and you can find it in the pinned messages. Read through that. Once you've read through it, try running the code locally. Make sure it will run on your computer. Next, you'll want to look at renting a cloud miner from AWS, Azure, etc. You're going to use the information you got from the documentation to figure out what sort of machine you'll need to rent from the cloud provider. Highly recommended to not buy something right away until you're more confident about the specs that you'll need. Next, you're going to want to get that cloud miner running on the testnet. The testnet is a great way to get comfortable with the CLI and just confirm that everything's going to work when you go to the mainnet. Then you're going to pay your registration fee. The registration fee can range from 0.1 tau to 10 tau, depending on the competition within your subnet. Once you've paid that registration fee, you can finally get mining. You can monitor your miner using the CLI or tausets.io. And then the very last step is forever optimize. As I said before, when you read the documentation, you find that the base code for the miner is included there, publicly available. The code for the validators is there. You can privately add whatever special sauce you might want to your miner's code, as long as it satisfies the validator code when it goes to check your work. So to make more money, consider type of machine that you're getting. Maybe you're overspending, you don't need one as powerful as you bought, or you need something more powerful to get more rewards. Then